Good afternoon. My name is Ann Wilson, and I am the Associate Dean Academic for the College of Arts. It is a tremendous pleasure to welcome you to the College of Arts Convocation ceremony this afternoon. The University of Guelph is honored by our graduates, your sons and daughters, your brothers or sisters, and we take great pride in this convocation. So I'd like to tell you a little bit about the proceedings today. The ceremonials used for conferring degrees have evolved over a millennium, and the hoods and gowns represent that history. In general, the gowns for the baccalaureate and the magisteriate degrees are black, and the color of the hood is different for each degree program. So today you will see students graduating with Bachelor of Arts degrees, and you'll also see students graduating with Bachelor of Arts and Science degrees. Their hoods will be different. The doctorates at the University of Guelph have a bright blue gown, and the honorary degrees are red. And no, I don't have an honorary degree. I graduated from York. The University of Guelph crest that you can see on the curtains behind me and that's shown on the cover of the convocation program also represents our specific history. The emblems in the crest show links with the royal city of Guelph through the white stallion above, the connection to the liberal arts through the book and to the sciences through the astrolabe, and our connection to abundance and agriculture through the cornucopia. The University of Guelph's motto is Rerum Cognoscere Causa, and it's a quote from Virgil. It's variously translated either, happy is the one who is able to ascertain the reasons of things, or perhaps to know the meaning of things. In any case, it is about the pursuit of knowledge. The procession of people into the hall is also influenced by an ancient tradition. The piper will herald the start of the procession of the graduands. Those are your students who are coming here to graduate today. And this will be followed by the arrival of the mace leading the platform party. The mace is a symbol of authority of the university, and it will be carried by the beadle. In medieval universities, a beadle was chosen by the instructors to work as an assistant. And today, the beadle is a ceremonial officer of the university's senate. Following the beadle and the mace is the vice chancellor, members of the administration, the honorees, fellows of the university, members of the board and senate, members of faculty and staff. The degrees will be conferred in the order that you see in the program. The degrees are separated by categories representing the specific degrees being awarded within a college. We will begin with the doctorates and magisteriates. I'm reading from a script. I believe today, actually, we only have baccalaureates. And the reader will present the scholars to the vice chancellor by degree category. As the name of each student is called, the beadle will place the head over the recipient's shoulders. And this moment will be video recorded, and technology willing, there will be a simultaneous live telecast of the event to allow family members who are not present to view from a distance. There's also a recording, by the way, on the website if you want to go back and have a look and relive the moment. The Vice Chancellor will greet each student at center stage, and a photograph will be taken. We understand the love and the excitement that accompanies such an auspicious occasion, but we're going to ask you to hold your applause. You can whoop, but don't applaud for each student. I'd have to say I've been to a number of convocations, and sometimes parents lovingly embarrass their child by crying out, "Love you, pumpkin." Personally, I think that's okay. At the end, when the degrees are conferred, there will be an opportunity for truly thunderous applause, and I would urge you to applaud with rapture and celebrate this wonderful moment. Once all the degrees are conferred and the cheers have been cheered, the Vice Chancellor will close the ceremony and the recessional will play. Please remain standing during the recessional until all of the platform party has processed out of the hall. Thank you very much and enjoy this wonderful, wonderful day.
while you are standing, please consider in your heart for one moment the land on which you stand. Join me to acknowledge and thank the diverse indigenous peoples whose footsteps have marked this territory for centuries, such as the Attawandarin, Haudenosaunee, and Anishinaabe peoples. There is a story of a fellow who's running really late for a business meeting in downtown Manhattan. He can't find a parking spot and knows the deal will go bust if he's late. After circling the block 7 times with no success, he looks on high and offers a deal. "Find me a spot and I'll be righteous from now on, I promise." At that very moment, a car pulls out of a parking space right in front of him. Turning heavenward, he says, "You know what? Scratch that deal. I found a spot on my own." It's a joke, but it carries an important message. We all need to carve a place in our heart to develop a talent to be truly grateful people. You see, a truly grateful person does not need an unexpected windfall to feel a deep sense of gratitude. A genuinely grateful person looks for, finds, and recognizes what others take for granted, the courtesies, kindness, and compassion that fill their lives but go largely unnoticed. I would encourage you to take a few moments each day and consider all those in your life who gave of themselves so you can be the person you are today. For those who turn a corner on this road and see but blessings and opportunities, those are the people that manage a sea change, an enormous turnaround, as the microscope turns from a self-centered focus to the telescope that embraces one and all. All of you have abilities and talents that can have a positive effect for the entire humankind. You need but remember one adage, that the people not like us are people like us. At this important moment and for eternity, it is critical to be cognizant that in everyone's life there are a plethora of setbacks, misfortunes, and tragedies. At the same time, there is always an enormous amount we take for granted. As we mature, we recognize the success of virtually every relationship turns on one sentiment, one attitude, and one value. Are we going to be resentful for all we lack, or will we focus on the multitude for which we could be grateful? Are we going to become paralyzed in hardship as we lay blame on others and refuse to take personal responsibility to move on? Or are we going to find the fortitude and courage to label the past as just that, the past, with many tomorrows to conquer and enjoy? Thank you. You may be seated.
Members of the board, honorary fellows and faculty of the university, family and friends, and graduates, welcome to the celebration of Convocation at the University of Guelph. Let me also take this opportunity to extend a particular welcome to a number of leaders from the community that are with us today. Our Member of Provincial Parliament, Ted Arnott, welcome. City of Guelph Councillors Phil Alt, Kathy Downer, and James Gordon. Wellington Catholic District School Board Director of Education, Tamara Nugent. Our Board of Governors Chair, Kevin Golding, and Student Medal winner, Ariane Cohen, as well as today's convocation speaker, Dion Brand. Welcome, all of you. My name is Franco Vaccarino, and I have the honor and the privilege of serving as the President and Vice Chancellor of this great university. And I'm privileged today to welcome all of you to Convocation. Now, as we begin today's Convocation ceremony, let me offer a few congratulatory remarks. First off, graduates, this is your big day. You've worked hard, you've persevered, and you've made it. Well done, well deserved. Now, graduation day is all about transitions, moving from one thing to another, moving from one state to to another. It's one of a number of important transitions that I'm sure you've already made in your lives and will continue to make in the years ahead. Last fall, I had the opportunity to welcome our new first-year students to the University of Guelph, and I reminded them that besides being the incoming class of 2015, they're also the graduating class for 2019. So for them, that was a moment of traveling forward in time. And just for a moment, I'd like to travel back in time with you to your own arrival here just a few years ago. Remember how it felt to set foot on campus for the first time as new students. I'm sure there was a mixture of excitement, very energized, but at the same time, sense of anticipation and nervousness, maybe confidence, hope and fear, all kind of bundled together at the same time. Well, looks like you figured it out. Explored campus, navigating through your classes and labs, finding new friendships, mentors, perhaps discovering the wider Guelph community. And maybe most important, discovering a little bit more about yourselves. It was a time of transition, going from what you were to what you would become, including, by the way, becoming Griffins. Now it's a time for the next transition. And maybe you're feeling a familiar or similar mix of hope and optimism together with some trepidation and even uncertainty. So think back over the past few years of your studies here at Guelph. You leave us today having gained new knowledge and having had a chance to study and work with some of the world's very best teachers and researchers. And as part of a learning-centered, research-intensive university, you've witnessed breakthroughs in scholarship and in research. You've been a part of a diverse, welcoming community, open to differing opinions and shared learning and discovery. And I would suggest that what you've learned goes well beyond strict subject matter. An important part of our mission as a university has been to provide you with the tools to successfully adapt and navigate through the complexities and the dynamics of modern society. In our fast-paced world, the gap has narrowed between knowledge generation and knowledge application. New ideas become new products at truly an unprecedented pace. Information and communication technologies and the related democratization of learning and knowledge, the sheer accessibility, mass accessibility of learning and knowledge have truly become game changers. Effectively, what's happened is that the distance between today and tomorrow has narrowed, and it's narrowed dramatically. Now that presents challenges, but it also presents amazing opportunities for all of us. A key challenge, of course, with change and transition is uncertainty, the very thing you may be feeling or facing right now. And of course, it is a challenge, and it's also an important opportunity. And the opportunity lies in what I like to call the upside of uncertainty. Taking uncertainty and change, adapting to it in a healthy way, and turning it into a positive, turning it into an opportunity. So what does that mean? Well, here on campus, what it means is that our researchers and scholars, they confront uncertainty by anticipating problems and opportunities and develop solutions to those problems. And that includes, by the way, solutions to problems that don't even exist yet. So they also anticipate what kinds of problems are going to be facing us in the future. It's looking at the other side of uncertainty. For you graduates, it means building on all that you have learned, getting the job done, and getting it done well, all while at the same time being future thinkers, thinking about the other side. Here at Guelph, we've tried to help you learn to adapt to and indeed to thrive in tomorrow's ever-changing world. And that pace of that change is just going to get quicker and quicker. We've looked to provide not just a curriculum for you, but also the life skills or the tools for your lifelong survival kit. So today you face a new transition. Some of you will continue on to grad school, others will enter the working world, and still others will travel or perhaps ponder what your next steps might be. Whatever your next move, here at Guelph, we've provided the analytical and qualitative skills we believe that you need to look beyond the world today and to succeed through innovation and problem solving in new, interesting, and fresh ways. You've learned about adaptation and you've learned about creativity. And I suspect you've also learned how to improvise. In effect, you've learned how to learn. And learning to learn is going to be increasingly key in our world as it unfolds in the years to come. And that's a good thing. As you leave behind the formal classrooms and labs, your learning doesn't end today. In many ways, it really is just beginning. And you'll discover this more and more as the years unfold ahead of you. It's about lifelong learning. The process of learning and adapting and applying that learning in new and important ways over your careers and over your entire lifetimes. Now, you've spent the last few years as part of the university community, and I hope that you've had a chance to learn how you fit into that wider community. Taking that wider view will be absolutely essential for you in today's world and tomorrow's world. And over the years, you will see that you'll need to bring together different perspectives, you need to blend knowledge and ideas from different disciplines and apply that knowledge in different ways. Something that we like to call knowledge in action. Taking knowledge and making it actionable, making it real in a way that makes a difference for your own lives, taking that knowledge, making a difference for other people's lives as well. And it's also about finding that upside of uncertainty, turning it into an opportunity. So as you enter this exciting next stage of your lives, I encourage you all to draw upon your University of Guelph experiences as learners and as members of a very, very special community, and to bring the very best that you have to offer to every experience. Don't take things for granted. Take advantage of every experience. Continue to take pride in your achievements. Embrace the opportunities that arrive. Look to create your own opportunities, opportunities that will shape our future, opportunities to redefine who we are, who you are, to see the future through a broader lens. You know, universities are among the very few places in society today where a large part of our purpose is simply to foster ideas. An ideas factory. Foster ideas and innovation, and to dream and to inspire hope. I encourage all of you to find ways to take what you've learned here, to engage with, and truly make a difference in your world, our world. Oh, and one more thing. I've talked a lot about uncertainty, but there's one thing that's for certain, and that is once a Griffin, always a Griffin. Well done. Thank you very much.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Kate Revington, and I'm the University Secretary at the University of Guelph. The Walter Vaughan Medal was established in honor of the late Walter Vaughan, a former secretary of the University of Guelph Senate, and a man who was committed to student involvement in university governance. This award is presented to a student with high academic standing who has made a substantial contribution to student life and to the university, particularly through involvement in and commitment to Senate activities. Mr. Vice Chancellor, I have the honor of presenting to you this year's recipient of the Walter Vaughan Medal, Ariane Cohen. Stand here while I read. As a Bachelor of Arts and Science student senator for several years and then co-chair of the Student Senate Caucus, Ariane represents her fellow students with passion and integrity, always with the goal of improving the student experience. Her leadership and commitment demonstrate the value and impact of the student voice in university governance. As a student senator, Ariane was fully engaged in the work and activities of Senate and its committees. As a member of the Senate Priorities and Planning Committee, she represented student perspectives in discussions and decisions shaping priorities and planning for academic governance. As caucus co-chair, she reported regularly to Senate on student viewpoints through the presentation of student feedback, which she actively solicited and collected from her fellow students through the caucus and other student networks. Her contributions as a member of the university's Mental Health Advisory Committee, which led to the recent approval of a new student mental health framework for the university, were described as insightful and impactful. Ariane is an exceptional student who has been on the Dean's Honors List every year. In 2015, she was awarded a prestigious NSERC Undergraduate Student Research Award. Specializing in both neuroscience and political science, she already has a peer-reviewed publication on her neuroscience research, which is an impressive accomplishment. In addition to her demanding work on the Senate, Ariane has been an active volunteer. She has coached in the Special Olympics, participated with Project Serve Guelph, served as an orientation volunteer, volunteered with the Best Buddies program, and served as the finance chair for the University of Guelph Relay for Life event. I'm also pleased to report that this fall, Ariane will be starting medical school at University of Toronto. Ariane has served as an outstanding member of the University Senate, a committed scholar, impressive researcher, and active participant in volunteer work. These qualities embody the values and spirit of the Walter Vaughan Medal and make her an exceptional recipient for this prestigious award. So, Mr. Vice Chancellor, it's with great pleasure that I ask you to present this year's Walter Vaughan Medal to Ariane Cohen.
This afternoon's convocation address will be delivered by Professor Dion Brand. Professor Brand is a professor and university research chair in the School of English and Theatre Studies. She is a renowned poet, novelist, and essayist. She has published some 18 books, contributed to many anthologies, written dozens of essays and articles, and made documentary films for the National Film Board. She's received numerous awards for her work, amongst which are the Governor General's Award for Poetry in 1997 and the Griffin Prize for Poetry in 2011. She was also named the Poet Laureate of the City of Toronto in 2009. Please join me in welcoming Professor Brand to now give convocation address.
Thank you. Thank you, Vice Chancellor. It's a pleasure to be here. So, you're leaving. Well, go well. But first, I want to congratulate you on this notable day. This degree and this ceremony are markers for you, I know. Passageways full of light to your future life. I have to admit something. Well, I will make two confessions through this. This is the first. This one you won't understand, but the other you will, I'm sure. I have to confess that I did not attend my own graduation from the University of Toronto back in 1970, something. I was in such an intense hurry to change the world and to get to my life as a writer, that while I took the photo, did they have you take the photo, you know that one, that your parents will now paste on their walls, proudly. I took the photo to send to my family to prove that I had finished. But I didn't attend the ceremony. So allow me to graduate vicariously with you today. In joining in your celebration, it takes me back to that time and to a time before, and to the reasons that I studied English literature. But I think that my study of literature began perhaps in my grandmother's lap, in a house in a village called Guayguayari, 10 degrees above the equator, with the sea outside and the sound of the surf. There, sitting in her rocking chair, she would tell stories about mythic beings and transgressive women. Those were my first classes in literature, and perhaps my first classes in feminism and psychology. There was, too, my grandfather, reading the newspaper every morning and every Sunday with his tea and his glasses and his gristly mustache, commenting about the political situation in the world. And those, I think, were my first classes in philosophy and history. And then there was the radio my family listened to from the French Antilles and from the nearby Venezuelan coast. Those were my first teachers in languages. And my lessons in fine art, in costume and mask and music, came from the yearly carnival that made its way for 2 days every year through all the streets of my childhood. So my graduation from that first school awarded no document unless you can count carrying the sounds and the cadence, the moral, the ethical and aesthetic temperature of those two people and of that time and its languages and its theater into the rest of my life. But perhaps that graduation took place on a plane flying to Toronto with the thought in my 17-year-old brain of becoming a writer. Landing here, I entered the academics of literature, the classes in Old and Middle English, Restoration, Romanticism, 18th and 19th century contemporary European, Caribbean, Latin American, African American literature, and also philosophy, Plato, Kant, Hobbes, Locke, and finally and gratefully, in the end, Marx and Engels. Well, so I missed my BA convocation because I was so busy. I was in a big hurry to synthesize all that I had read and learned into books of my own. And also as a gesture to the idea that I had not attended university merely for certification. The piece of paper, as we used to call it, was not the reason I sat up nights, as I'm sure you have, thinking about Aimé Césaire's Cahiers d'une retour au pays natal, which went, au bout du petit matin, sur cette plus fragile épaisseur de terre que dépasse de façon humiliante son grandiose avenir. And volcanoes will explode and water will carry the full spots of the sun. I fell in love with those lines during those years. Nor was it why I had read and appreciated the sharp realism of Dickens's Hard Times. That woke me up. It was not why I read Virginia Woolf, nor why I read Luigi Pirandello, nor why I adored Lorraine Hansberry and can still hear her words in my head saying, love? Ask the troubadours who come from those who have loved when all reason pointed to the uselessness and foolhardiness of love. Perhaps we shall be the teachers when it is done. Out of the depths of pain we have thought to be our sole heritage in this world. Oh, we know about love. And the piece of paper was not why I read the poems of Langston Hughes. I'll tell you a small haiku of his. It's actually called Suicide Poem. And it goes like this. The cool, clear face of the water asked me for a kiss. Now you could die in that poem, can't you? I mean, that's a beautiful thing. Nor why I had read the poems of Pablo Neruda and Gwendolyn Brooks. Gwendolyn Brooks has a lovely poem called The Pool Players. It goes like this. We real cool. We left school. We lurk late. We strike straight. We sing sin. We thin gin. We jazz June. We die soon. Nor was it why I discovered and adored Bertolt Brecht for saying, amongst the highly placed, it is considered low to talk about food. The fact is, they have already eaten. The lowly must leave this earth without having tasted any good meat. For wondering where they come from and where they are going, the fine evenings find them too exhausted. They have not yet seen the mountains and the great sea, when their time is already up. If the lowly do not think about what's low, they will never rise. And it was not why I wrote that essay on Herbert Marcuse's One-Dimensional Man, nor the essay on Frantz Fanon's The Wretched of the Earth. And why did I spend so many gloomy hours with Jean-Paul Sartre being and nothingness. Well, like you, I did all this. I read all this. I worked it through. I thought it through for my life. You know what I mean? Right? In the end, right? It's about that piece. Literature itself, representing the lives of others near and far, complicated and surreal, contemplative and intuitive, had accredited me. I know that you graduates from your various disciplines must feel this way too, that you have done these years, read voraciously, thought deeply, agonized on the metaphysical and the moral and the ethical in those classrooms, all for your life. Okay, here's my second confession. I spent most of my undergraduate life in the pub. Oh, see, I hear recognition, yeah? Where I learned a lot of things too. I learned to drink beer, talk loudly, love dangerously, weep over the sound of a singer and a band. So ridiculous, right? Or the sound of poetry. I learned to stagger home with heartbreak. I think in the 4 years, maybe my heart was broken, what, maybe 16 times? I don't know. Anyway. And I learned to make a big fool of myself. These, I know now, were equally important skills in an academic life. For a life, really. They say that each heartbreak opens your soul just a little bit bigger, yeah, so that the world enters. In the pub, there were debates about South Africa, apartheid, US and European imperialism, colonialism, Vietnam, Sir George Williams, immigration, radicalism, South America, and the meaning of just about everything. Today, your list of arguments, I am sure, reflect mine to some degree. I know you've worked for a just world, a clean environment, Aboriginal rights, LGBTQ rights, anti-racism, and human rights, feminism. I know you have. I know you've joined Idle No More, Black Lives Matter, eco-justice, and many more humanist urgencies. You've done the right thing. Someone said, it is by our will and conscience that we make the world. There is also a cynical mantra that says you will grow out of these things when the real world hits you. And I want to tell you that you won't. And that if you should feel that happening, don't. Just check yourselves. Yeah? Okay. And never inhabit that cynicism. This is the real world you are living in, where care and empathy and vision must be felt keenly and lived keenly, where guided by your passion, you never turn a blind eye on injustice. This is the real. The other is becoming numb to the world and the senses. As an undergraduate, many people also ask me, like, why was I doing English, right? What was I going to do with that? Why was I studying philosophy? What kind of job would I get from that? And why didn't I do something more worthwhile? And I answered that I was doing literature for my life, so that I could live a life of the mind, so that when what they considered worthwhile, which was usually about money, and it is true, one has to pay the rent, but when that fell apart, or gave out, or wasn't sufficient to explain the world, I would still have a life. Becoming a writer entailed taking a vow of poverty each year, and each year, even now, I kind of renew those rights, renew those vows, yeah? Because literature allowed me a great space to practice what Paul Valéry called the ancient craft of the beautiful. And the space that this craft has opened in me is the payment, the open field that art allows, the electrified synapses in the brain, the way a life deepens, the more elaborate a human being I may become, attending to history, attending to the social, attending to the possibility. At a reading in Calgary once, when my novel, What We All Long For, came out, there was a woman waiting in the book line to talk to me. The book was in part about a Vietnamese family who'd arrived in Toronto after the Vietnam War, and the people were wrecked and broken, having lost their young son in the crush and panic of that time. And the woman approached me weeping and asked, "How did you know? How did you know? And for a moment, I didn't know what she meant, but she kept saying, like, how did you know? How did you know? But then I understood what she was saying, and I rose to comfort her. She'd been a refugee from Vietnam herself and found a similarity between herself and the characters in the book: kinship. That is what literature means: solidarity with other human beings. The Chilean poet Pablo Neruda wrote in his Nobel speech, "There is no insurmountable solitude." And I want to give you that sentence. There is no insurmountable solitude. That is the core of the humanities. I was happy to offer her that kinship and solidarity and to have it rendered to me in return. This is how I get paid for a life in art, and I think I've amassed a great fortune. I'm looking out at you now, and you look wonderful. You look shiny, you look ready, you're full of vigor. And I know that you did not come here, or you came here for your life. I know that, which is your great fortune. On an oral history project once, a woman told me, it was a project in Buxton, on the black community in Buxton, and she said that, you know, the black community there thought that education was no burden to carry and no one would ever take it from you, or could ever take it from you. And that's the second sentence I want to give to you. So 2 confessions, 2 sentences, right? There is no insurmountable solitude, and it is no burden to carry, and no one can take it from you. You graduates of the College of Arts, let me tell you, you're very, very important to the world. Just think about the world without you, and there will be a barrenness. So I'm happy for you today. I wish you joy. You have my kinship and solidarity. I have probably taught a few of you, perhaps, over the last while, and I want to say to you that you've been a revelation to me. I have learned a lot from you. So go make something happen, right? Like, go do something wonderful in the world. I know you have student loans probably, but don't worry too much about that, right? Go and live large, yeah? Live large. This is your only responsibility. So I'm charging you with a few things, and I'm only asking because I know you have the capacity to do them, because you are thinkers, you are intellectuals, ethicists, expressionists. Go make a different world. You have a responsibility to the planet and to yourselves, actually, to make it clean, stop the commercial debris orbiting the Earth, go stop the continent of plastic waste in that whirlpool in the Pacific, go stop the deluge of oil waiting to be spewed into the oceans, go heal the scarred landscapes, go stop, rapacious capital, go make sure everybody eats and not just a few, and go open some young person's mind to the books that opened your mind. Get justice for Aboriginal communities in this country, something generations have refused to do. I think you are marked to do it. Go bring an end to homophobia. And I'm thinking of Orlando at this moment. And go and bring an end to sexism and an end to racism. Go make the world you want to live in. And when you think of what you are going to do next, ask yourself whether it measures Valerie's definition of art: to construct and to refrain from destruction. Congratulations.
Thank you so much, Professor Brand. My name is Malcolm Campbell. I'm the Vice President of Research here at University of Guelph. I, like some of you, have sat here in this room as a parent. I, like some of you, have sat here in this room as a life partner. And I, like 132 of you, have sat in this room exactly 30 years ago, in fact, June 1986, as a fellow Griffin about to graduate. In none of those times have I heard words so lyrical, so powerful and resonant as those shared by Professor Brand today. She shared with us the power of people, the power of place, the power of narrative. Let her words remind you of the power of this place, of Guelph, of these people that you've shared your life with, of the power of your words, both learned and shared and said, and of course of the power of your actions as you write in the next chapter in your story. Please join me again in thanking Professor Brand for her inspired and inspiring address. And now the moment that you've all been waiting for. Will the graduating class please rise? And this is the fun bit. You got to all pay attention. Mr. Vice Chancellor, I have the honor to present to you these scholars who have fulfilled the statutory requirements laid down by the Senate of the University of Guelph that they may be admitted to their various and several degrees.
By virtue of the authority vested in me and in the University of Guelph, I hereby accept you for admission to your various and several degrees, with all the rights, privileges, and obligations appertaining thereto. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in congratulating these wonderful scholars and their terrific accomplishments.
No, wait. If there was a moment for you to hoot and holler over receiving your degrees, this was the moment to do it. So can we do that again, please? You've made me a proud Griffin.
You may be seated.
All right, as we've heard, you can hoot and holler all you like. You can jump out of your chairs and celebrate this big moment where the graduates actually come across the stage and receive their degrees. But there is one thing we'd like to ask you not to do. Don't applaud until each group has gone by. So I'll let you know when each one of the three groups that are coming up has completed. Mr. Vice Chancellor, I have the honor to present to you these scholars from the College of Arts that they may be admitted to the degree of Bachelor of Arts Honors Program. Thoreau Baker, with distinction. Stephanie Bridget Bohm McQuaig. Macaulay Bullock, with distinction. Stuart Cameron, with distinction. Jennifer Elizabeth Chamberlain. Paolo Chemelot. Samir Shabra. Lilia Elizabeth Clark, with distinction. Victoria May Coles. Gillian, yep. Gillian Margaret Eileen Curie. Okay. James DeMello, with distinction. Kelsey DePape. Caitlin Adina Etier, with distinction. Erin Morgan Johnston Fetterly. Natalie Field. Michael Martin Furak. Duncan Robert Gibson Lockhart with distinction. Connor Hamill. Christine Lisa Hauger. Caitlin Summer Hetherington with distinction. Madeline Patricia Higgins with distinction. Okay. Odesha May Howlett. Mitt Hunt with distinction. Nicole Claudia Hussey. Kellen Mark J. Rebecca Louise Johnson with distinction. Katerina Lombardi. Stephanie Melanie Lowry with distinction. Heather Margaret McCrae with distinction. Andrew Rocco Mandaliti. Emily Marlies Hatherley Martin with distinction. Caden James McCann. Margaret Catherine McKee. Megan Lee Kant Mitchell with distinction. Connor Andrew Mosley. Brock Michael Ogilvie. Jordan Daniel Palmieri. Ryan Christopher Paragni with distinction. Liana Rosa Pascalone. Brady Robert Hugh Patterson. Angela Pellerine. Chantal Monique Paff. Jacqueline Piatek. Emily Ann Pittman with distinction. Kelsey Priestman with distinction. Holly Marina Prothero. Mackenzie Eve Quartermain. Emma Ravenhill. Shayla Nicole Rouse. Mariah Jane Sears Stryker with distinction. Sarah Shepard. Natalie Shore. Christina Beatrice Eileen Smith with distinction. Sarah Stripe. Shelby Lynn Simon with distinction. Julie Liliana Talbot. Bryn Elizabeth Thompson. Lisa Marie Tubb. Zachary David Turner. Scott Keith Violet. Rachel Kaylin Watson with distinction. Anna Rebecca Wiebe. Sarah Elizabeth Zilka. We may now applaud for these graduates. Mr. Vice-Chancellor, I have the honor to present to you these scholars from the College of Arts that they may be admitted to the degree of Bachelor of Arts General Program. Ashanti Apuli Amaratunga. Kelsey Baldwin Paquette. Michael James Beckman. Taylor Patricia Campbell. Adam Joseph John Clark. Tristan John Davies. Julia Nicole DeSantis. Simon Dennis Eady. Jordan Paul Fabry. Shaylin Ferguson. Michaela Elizabeth Fernandez. Marie-Eloise Corbeil Fraser. Luke Garrison. Okay. Courtney Hamill with distinction. Samantha Hofstede. Dustin John Wesley Hope with distinction. Astrid Carlson Jull. Sina Lotfamadi. Claire Marie McKillop. Brittany McMacken. Cassandra Wolstenholme Mitchell. Daniel John Parody. Lillian May Pickett. Brandon Rochester. Carly Krista Rose Smith. Melanie Rose Taylor. Megan Elizabeth Barbara Tennant. Carlin Josephine Walzer. Okay. Kaylee Justin Walters. Okay. Matthew Storm Taylor Whitmore. And let's congratulate this second group of graduates. Mr. Vice Chancellor, I have the honor to present to you these scholars from the College of Arts that they may be admitted to the degree of Bachelor of Arts and Sciences Honors Program. Mandeep Aujla. Rachel Bell Irving. Okay. Olivia Ray Brown. Okay. Tiffany Crystal Buckingham. Jessica Megan Carswell. Ariane Molly Cohen with distinction. Okay. Jessica Elizabeth Davidson with distinction. Courtney Michelle Finley with distinction. Jasmine Samantha Fritz with distinction. Emma Claire Gunby Fuller. Danica Laurel Guppy with distinction. Ricky Haley Colpitz with distinction. Mackenzie Ann Cranix. John Lozon with distinction. Jocelyn Lynette with distinction. Sarah Emily Mann with distinction. Mary Caitlin Malone with distinction. Erin Marie Elizabeth Massender with distinction. Okay. Nicholas William Peter Morose with distinction. Joanne Olga Pierce. Okay. Ashley Arishma Prasad. Okay. Kelia Lauren Quinn Deloney with distinction. Andrew Schultz. Okay. Seco. Esha Sharma with distinction. Julian David Pierre Sicko with distinction. Lindsay Ann Nicole Sisson with distinction. Kathleen Elizabeth Skinner with distinction. Carolyn Julia Spiegelfeld with distinction. Jolene Helen Ursula Tipo with distinction. Larissa Patrice Collier Waldman with distinction. And Aubrey Wilmot Johnson with distinction. And so let's congratulate this third group and all of the graduates together.
Mr. Vice Chancellor, I would ask you to confer the various and several degrees on the graduates listed in the program but unable to be present at this ceremony.
By virtue of the authority vested in me and in the University of Guelph, I confer the various and several degrees in absentia on the graduates not present. Thank you. Well, graduates, you did it. Congratulations. Well, staying with the theme of transitions, I want to welcome all of you to the Griffin alumni family, a growing family. This week, more than 3,400 new graduates are joining that alumni family. The University of Guelph alumni now number more than 125,000 graduates around the world. We're all, as you can imagine, very proud of your accomplishments here at the University of Guelph and do look forward to seeing how the foundations you've developed here as a student will continue to support you in the years ahead. We want to celebrate your achievements and successes and do hope that you'll stay in touch with your alma mater. And remember that you're always welcome here. Graduates, you've made so many, I'm sure, great memories here at the university, including today's ceremony. And remember this as well. You're a student for a short time, but you're a Griffin forever. So congratulations. Now, this concludes our formal convocation ceremony. Dean Don Bruce will be hosting a reception for all the graduates and their guests in Creelman Hall. This really is an opportunity to congratulate the graduates, and we do hope that you can attend. Now, a small item of business. I'm sure you all want to get out there and start celebrating, but if you could just, on your way to doing that, make sure you drop off your hoods and gowns, the tent outside. But on that note, now, as tradition has it, the Vice Chancellor gets the last word, and that's me, and the last words actually are, convocation is dismissed. Well done.